Good day. My name is Sean Sandy, and I'm going to take you through some of the new features in Visual Studio Team System. In particular, I'm going to talk about the test features available in Visual Studio. Under the View menu, Quality Tools, we have a menu for some of the windows that are going to help us organize, understand, and run our tests in Visual Studio. To start off with, we have a simple class with one method called DoNothing. And I'm going to generate some tests for this class. The first step is to add a new project, and the project type is a test project. Now, I can create tests for this class. And Visual Studio will automatically generate these tests and place them inside a class in my test project. This test project has a number of methods for initialization, methods for code cleanup, for test cleanup, and finally, we've generated a method for my method to test my DoNothing method. At the end of that test, I assert the following: inconclusive. I can now come in, change this code, and assert passed or failed, depending on the outcome of my test. Not only will Visual Studio generate tests, but I can write my own custom tests. This test I'm writing will simply fail. If I build this solution and open up the test view, I can see the two tests I created, DoNothing and my test. Let's go into the Test Explorer. These are the tests that I have in my project. They're currently uncategorized, but I can create categories to sort and organize my tests. I'm going to create two categories, one called Generated and one called Custom. And I'm now going to move my tests into the appropriate categories. I can now run all of my tests by selecting categories, or individual categories of tests by selecting one but not the other. Let's just run the generated test. I get a test config, and at the end I see that this test failed. This test was inconclusive. Great. Let's run all of my tests. I see one failed and one was inconclusive. The last thing I'm going to show is code coverage. So, if I go back to my run config, I can go and I can instrument a binary for code coverage. Let's instrument my class. Now when I run, I can look at code coverage results. So my class is pretty simple, and what I find out is that I had zero coverage in my class library. Let's add a little code. For DoNothing, let's do the following. It's not a very exciting example, but if I rebuild and I rerun my tests, code coverage enabled, I find the following. That I have some lines that are covered and some lines that are not covered. And if I go and highlight those lines, I can see what parts of my project have not been covered by my test. Thank you very much.